So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the virtual job interview set, the lighting, the audio, the staging for your virtual job interview, whether it's Zoom, WebEx, Skype. You're going to have to use this to differentiate yourself from the other candidates because, this is the coronavirus era. This is the new normal. You don't just walk up and shake somebody's hand. What up, fam? Dr. James W. Stalkup, a.k.a. Jimmy Joe Coltrane. I'm like the Jeff Spicoli of getting you a rollie. Now let's get started. How to virtual job interview set. So the virtual job interview and the traditional job interview are different in almost every regard. There are negatives and there are positives to both. Now, in this video, I'm not going to take a super high level overview, but I'm not going to go into a deep dive. I've got a video that's a deep dive. Don't watch it. I've got a blog post that's a deep dive. Don't even read it. It's for nerds. It's for people who don't want to leave anything to chance. But what I'm going to convince you of today is you need to pay attention to your virtual job interview set so that you can differentiate yourself from the other applicants and therefore get the job that you want. We're not here to make friends. We're here to beat them. We're here to beat everybody else who's trying to get that job. So first off, let's run through some advantages and disadvantages to the virtual job interview. So the advantages are they're cheap, they're easy to get. People are a lot more likely to give an applicant a virtual interview than an in-person interview, and they don't require travel. So you're going to improve your odds of getting a job by doing 50 virtual interviews where it would be impossible for you to do 30 in-person interviews. You'd be traveling all over the country. Also, you might be willing to move to Alaska for a job. You might be willing to move to Miami, Florida for a job, but you might not be willing to fly down there for a low probability job interview. So this virtual world allows you to go through the screening interviews and expand your reach. There are some big jobs right now that are being hired start to finish 100% virtual, no in person. It's crazy. It's a new normal. It's funny. I was teaching virtual job interviews long before coronavirus. I had an entire lecture devoted to it in my online course, but it was sort of that's nice to have. Now it's a necessity. It is so critical that you know how to virtual interview well. What are the disadvantages to a virtual job interview? Well, you lose a lot of your interpersonal power. If you've got ostrich skin loafers, they're never going to be able to see them. You got a great pair of slacks, it doesn't matter anymore. You can't walk up, you're losing your interpersonal power. You can't walk up and impress somebody. You can't give them a killer handshake. You can't give them a little witticism. And you have to do things like truncate your answers, right? Biggest thing you can do for yourself in a virtual job interview is keep your answers short. We have been conditioned to expect things on screen to go very, very fast. So this awesome personalized content that you've worked up that's that long, you need to cut it down by half in a virtual job interview. I don't hear anybody else saying this, but I've done a lot of virtual interviews and I'm telling you this works. Another disadvantage is you can get absolutely killed by someone who understands lighting, audio, and setting a proper stage. Things like color schemes suddenly become important. I never would have thought to recommend a book on color palettes to people doing job interviews. But now this book right here might actually get you a job. It's a new world. It's the new normal. But overall, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages if you're willing to practice and take it seriously. Same stage every time. Got to use the same stage every time. Develop your stage, get the lighting right, use the same stage every time. I cannot stress this enough. You will become much more comfortable in practicing if you practice in the same stage every time. I have no apprehension about doing this video right now because I've done 500 videos sitting in the same spot. 480 of them never made it to production. They were kind of trash. Step 1, phone holder and tripod. You need one of these. You see this little springy thing. It grabs your phone. It screws into a tripod there. It screws into a tripod there. Also, you can flip this out and stand it up. There are a million different models of this. This one's called Tack Life. And what we're going to do is we're also going to get a small tripod. Your tripod should be about, I don't know about that tall, maybe a foot tall. So we are going to screw this phone holder onto the tripod in this orientation because your phone is always sideways in a job interview. Phone being sideways in a job interview enlarges you on the screen for zoom. It increases the width of your picture by about a third. Also, it looks much more professional. Don't you ever hold a phone in the job interview. Holding a phone in the job interview and doing it like that, clear path to failure. Now, when we set up our stage, we're going to clamp our phone into the holder. We're going to set up our stage. We are going to connect a FaceTime call to somebody in our family, and we're going to see exactly how it looks, and we're going to adjust our lighting until we like the way that it looks. Then we're going to take small pieces of masking tape, and we're going to put them by the feet of the tripod, and then we're going to take that tripod and put it away, somewhere close where we can get to it. So now, when it's time for an interview, tripod goes down, phone goes in it, boom, it's the exact proper stage. See, the virtual job interview set is important. It's very important. You got to be able to reproduce it. And you don't want to have a tripod sitting on the living room table or wherever it is. Now, if you're going to use natural light, make sure that the natural light is not shining from behind you in front of you, because the ISO on the camera may actually clamp down and make your face look very, very dark, like they're trying to hide your identity, like you're trying to conceal who you are in that job interview. And that's not a good look. So right now I have natural light, not a ton of it. It's coming through there. And then I've got a big glass garage door on my balcony that it comes through as well, but none from behind me. Okay, you need to absolutely kill it with sound. Let's cover the two different bases. First off, if you're doing a cell phone interview, this is your solution right here. MPOW, MPOW. I just did a review on this versus another wireless headset. This is $23.99. I think it is called the MPOW Trucker headset on Amazon. I get $0 for recommending this. Great audio quality. The battery life is superb. It seems to last forever on one charge, and you can just throw this in with the rest of your equipment and connect it to your phone instantly. So now if you're using a laptop, it gets a little bit more complicated. First off, the laptop has to be elevated to provide the same stage as the cell phone, meaning you have to have a shoebox or something to set the laptop on so you can get the camera that high. You can't have the laptop looking up at you. Secondly, you got to figure out what kind of audio you're going to use for your laptop. I have 4 recommendations. 1 through 3 are the Blue Yeti. The Blue Yeti is the best possible microphone you could use for your interviews. And you set it up to where the microphone is about this far away from your mouth, and they are going to notice it, and they're going to say something about it. And you can say, well, I do a lot of meetings. And that's it. You acknowledge it, but act like you've scored a touchdown before. Yeah, I do a lot of virtual meetings. Boom, that's it. And they're going to look and say, hey, you know how much of this job is virtual, and this person already is prepared to do a virtual meeting? Demonstration of higher value right there. You're going to best your competitors just with them noticing the microphone. But the audio quality on this is impeccable. And it has at the bottom a headphone output. You can see there's a little headphone coming out of there. Now, unobtrusively, I can run one or both of these little earbuds up to my ear, and then that removes all feedback. That whining feedback is caused by the microphone hearing the speakers. It is impossible for a microphone to hear the speakers if the speaker is actually inside your ear. A lot of apps have software that prevents this feedback. The worst offender is Microsoft Skype. Microsoft Skype will allow echoes. Doing a Skype meeting in a room like this is terrible if you don't have headphones, just from all the echo that's traveling around. What if you don't want to use a Blue Yeti? So the Blue Yeti is kind of expensive. It is a good investment, but I make videos for people in junior level positions and people who are unemployed. So I don't expect you to go out and buy a super expensive microphone. The other option I would recommend is a 3.5 millimeter headset splitter from Amazon. Now this is a splitter that splits the headset into a microphone and an earphone. You can then choose to use the earphone or not, but in the microphone you can run a little lavalier mic. So this is a Rode lavalier mic. The rule on lavalier mics is you want it somewhere around or slightly above a line between your nipples, and the lavalier mic will sit right here. Now it does pick up some echo, a little bit more than the Blue Yeti will. But it has a plug, which is called a TRS plug, and you'll notice the plug has 2 little black bands on it, and this will plug into the microphone port on the splitter. Beware, if you just plug this straight into your laptop, it will not work. You have to have that little splitter device. Now let's talk about lighting. Lighting is very cheap. Lighting is so much simpler and so much cheaper than people think. This thing out right here, you get 2 of these for $70. You get it off of Amazon, it's got a fluorescent bulb inside it. Every video that I've been in, the left side, or on your screen, I believe it'd be the right side, that side of my face is illuminated by a $35 light. It's not super expensive to get these lights. Now, I do have some higher quality lights that I use in videos, but this is absolutely fine to use in your virtual job interview set. Now, if you want to know about setting up the lights, I actually cover this in my blog post on stoicstalkup.com called Virtual Job Interview Set Deep Dive. Now, the next step is know how to join the meeting. You have to practice these apps, and they're very confusing. So each meeting has 3 different ways to join. Each video conferencing software, and real quick, before I get into this, take a moment, click like and click subscribe if you like this content. I'm a brand new channel, really trying to grow the channel. That would really help me out, and I'm trying to produce 2 videos a week on job interviewing. So if you're in that phase of your life, now's a good time to click like and click subscribe. Also, I do have the full Interview Dynamics course online. It's about 4.5 hours plus some practice to get all the job skills you need. But let's get back to how to join the meeting. So video conferencing software typically has 3 different ways to join. The first way to join is through the actual application. So you have downloaded the WebEx application. The second way to join is through a browser window. What browser should you use in a job interview? Google Chrome. Never Internet Explorer. Never Internet Explorer. There's a lot of Microsoft that's incompatible with Microsoft. I don't know why. But also you can join by phone. And it's very important that you have written down the actual number to call in, the meeting ID code, and everything to call in and join by phone. And here's why. At 3 minutes after the start of the meeting, you're going to join by phone. Now, does that look bad for you? I don't like it. I don't want you to join by phone because you're losing all of this that you've set up. You're losing your virtual job interview set. You're losing your stage. But it is very common to have to join by phone. In my real job, Chief Medical Informatics Officer, a doctor who literally works with technology every day, I have virtual meetings with some of the top software people on planet Earth, and frequently one or more of us has to join by a phone. It's not dishonorable. Nobody thinks anything bad about it. They will think something bad about it if 7, 8, 9 minutes go by and you haven't been able to connect. So at 3 minutes, you've got to connect by phone. Okay, so this is the briefest overview into how to kind of create your stage for the virtual job interview set. I call it a set because it's kind of like a movie set and you have to pay attention to it. This is replacing all of the traditional things that you would have used to gain an advantage in a job interview. And with a little bit of practice, a little bit of elbow grease, you can go in there and dominate your competition to get the job that you want. Thanks for watching.